Hey everybody, and happy July. If you are watching this, you know around here July is soap opera month in honor of a song that I recorded with my longtime friend Eric Martsolf. You know, Eric plays Brady Black on the soap opera Days of Our Lives, and he came to Nashville a while back and we recorded a duet that I wrote called Days Go By. And I thought it would be a lot of fun for you all to see some behind the scenes footage of us recording in the studio. We had a great time, and I also am going to be putting up some hilarious videos of us back in the day at Dollywood from a few years ago on my YouTube channel. So be sure and check those out at Holly Norman Music on YouTube. I hope you all have a great day, and as always, if you are watching this, I know you have joined me on the musical journey and I greatly appreciate it. So sit back, enjoy the videos, and I will see you soon. Eric and I met years ago when I first started at Dollywood. We were both in the original Let the Good Times Roll cast, which was the very first 50s show Dollywood ever had. They just opened up Jukebox Junction, which is the 50s area there at the park, and we really just hit it off. I remember the second day my dance partner was really good friends with Eric, so Eric and my dance partner and myself and my best girlfriend from the show all went out to lunch, and we had a great time. We just sat there basically and laughed the whole time, and we were just fast friends and continued our friendship on for the next few years while he and I were both at Dollywood. And then we kind of lost track of each other, as you do. He went off to pursue other things, and I stayed back at Dollywood for a few years. And, you know, we stayed friends, but we just kind of lose track of people. So the last I had heard, he was doing a Broadway show. I think it was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And then one day, my sister, who's a super soap fan, calls me up and is like, turn on the TV, your old friend from Dollywood, Eric Martsolf, is on this show called Passions, which was a soap opera a few years back. And then when it got canceled, he moved to Days of Our Lives, where he still plays Brady Black. And I mean, he's doing great. He's won an Emmy for Best, I think, Supporting Actor, and just his career is just going great. But it's a really interesting story how we met up all these years later. So it's really a quirky, interesting story about how Eric and I reconnected. We hadn't seen each other in several years after he left Dollywood. I knew he was on Days of Our Lives, but other than that, not much. And so a while back, I get a random Facebook message from this lady that was hosting a charitable event that Eric and some other Days of Our Lives stars were going to be a part of. And it was going to kind of be geared towards Eric's homecoming because they were going to have it at Dollywood, and she had found me on the internet and knew that Eric and I had performed together back in the day at Dollywood. So she asked if I'd like to come and surprise him. So I thought, well, you know, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I went down there, and it was the funniest thing. They were doing like a meet and greet, kind of like a Q&A with Eric and another guy, Greg Vaughn, who plays Eric Brady. I know it's confusing. He plays Eric Brady on Days of Our Lives. So they had come down to Dollywood to do this charitable event, and I stood behind a curtain and was trying to give out hints to Eric, and as soon as I mentioned that I was the baton twirler in Let the Good Times Roll, he immediately knew who it was, because that was my claim to fame, was my baton twirling. So we just had the best time. You know, it was like, you have those friends where it's like, even though you don't see them for a long time, no time passes when you get back together. I mean, it was like no time had passed, and it was so funny. I was only supposed to come out there for a couple of minutes and kind of, you know, talk about our time at Dollywood, and I wound up staying like the whole time, like 2 more hours, just doing the meet and greet, sitting in between Greg and Eric and telling all these embarrassing stories on Eric back in the day. So it was a lot of fun. And then they had these cocktail like after parties, so we're there and chit-chatting, and Eric's like, what are you doing now? And I'm like, I'm a singer-songwriter in Nashville. And just being funny, he was like, oh, we should record a song together. And it just kind of, a light bulb went off, and I was like, you know, I actually have a duet that you'd be perfect for. And then he said, well, you know, I'm going to be in Nashville in like 3 months, so let's do this. And I was like, okay. So then he's like, well, what's the name of the song? And I'm like, it's called Days Go By. And everybody that was sitting there was like, oh, that's the perfect title, Days Go By, this is great. So I left there and was like, okay, I'm going to send him the song, and that's probably going to be the end of it. Well, lo and behold, I sent him the song. He contacts me back and is like, I love the song, let's do it. So I race to get the track done in these 3 months, and he comes to the studio and we had the best time. It was super quick. Like, I literally picked him up from a fan function. We had 2 hours to get this thing recorded, and then he was off, and then I drove him to the airport for him to get on a flight to go home. So, you know, fate. It was just fate for us to get together and do this song, and it turned out so great. I mean, better than I could have ever imagined, and I'm so proud of it. So if you've not heard it, you all need to go to iTunes and check it out, because he does a fantastic job. A lot of his fans don't know he's just as good of a singer as he is actor, so be sure and check it out.
Staying here won't make you happy, so you've got to leave me behind.
So I headed out for the big city and left her there in Tennessee.
As the days they go by, I realize this ain't no kind of life.
So Days Go By is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. I love a good duet, and I love a duet that tells a story. And this was really out of my comfort zone because it's not traditional country and it's definitely not bluegrass, but I would probably classify it as like adult contemporary. And it was inspired by one of my favorite songs, which is Please Come to Boston. I just love everything about this song, and I really wanted to kind of create that feel and create a story like that. You know, at the end of Please Come to Boston, there's no resolve. I mean, they stay in different states and they never come back together, and I kind of wanted that for this song. So I didn't want it to be your typical like, oh, we're in love and we separate for a while and then we realize we need to get back together and everything's, you know, happily ever after. I wanted the country element in the song is that I wanted it to end tragically with heartbreak and no resolve, and that's how it ends. I mean, it's going through the story of this couple and their life, and they're together at first and then they separate, and the days go by and the years go by, and they both kind of build different lives from themselves, and they go their separate ways in the end.
Staying here won't make you happy, so you've got to leave me behind.
So I headed out for the big city. I left her there in Tennessee.
As the days they go by,
I just love the story of it and kind of how it ends and everything. And then, you know, as a songwriter, that's like your child. So when you're picking a duet partner, you want somebody that's just as passionate about it, that's just as invested in telling the story and making the song the best that it can be. And so I feel like that's why it took me so many years to find just the right partner for this song. And when Eric and I reconnected, it was just like, this is it. This is who was meant to sing this song with me. And, you know, going into the studio, I was a little apprehensive because you just never know how people are gonna, you know, respond in the studio. I was like, you know, some people just kind of, if it's not their song, they don't care about it and they just kind of dial in their performance and, you know, halfway do it and then they're on their way. And we had a very limited time frame. Like, I literally picked him up from a fan function. We had 2 hours, and then I had to drop him off at the airport. But I couldn't have been more pleasantly surprised because we got in the studio and he was ready to work. He knew the song, he knew all the harmonies, he knew everything about it. And he really just put his whole heart into it. I mean, that's why I've got the video footage from it, because I was so impressed with him in the studio.
And when you left,
I made my choice. Oh baby, I'm getting tired of this wind sea. 'Cause what I need's in Tennessee.
as the years they went by,
Her feelings died.
and I made myself alive.
Funny how time can change your heart.
Make you
You'll see it when he's in the vocal booth, he's almost acting out his lines and acting out the story. And it was just awesome to watch.
So I headed out for the big city and left her there in Tennessee.
as the days they go by, I realize this ain't no kind of life. Come back to me, I hope and pray.
And he did such a fantastic job. And we got in there and started bouncing ideas off of one another, and you know, that's the beauty of a collaboration. And the song had always been great in my eyes, but he just brought it to a new level. We added a bunch of harmonies in. We added
Funny how time can change your heart and make you go your separate ways.
And we added some callbacks, and there's never dead time in the song. Like literally, we're either singing together or I'm singing and he's kind of like harmonizing or doing a callback, or I'm doing a callback to what he's singing.
Please don't come back, you've got to stay.
Not sure that I want to stay.
I said with a tremble in my voice, I don't need this kind of surprise.
And it just makes the song so interesting. And like I say, it turned out better than I ever could have imagined. And we had such a good time in that short time at the studio. So
A rose tears stream down my face.
Don't mess up the
I
makeup.
need you here right.
This one. What's going on?
got
Got a headphone here.
Headphone.
Headphone here?
I fixed it. So I think I need to write another duet and have him come and sing on another one. But I think you all are really going to enjoy this song. So go to iTunes and check it out. It's called Days Go By.